you know, yes, Glenn says live. If you guys are hopping in live, hashtag live. If you guys are watching the replay, let me know, hashtag replay. I have a super awesome guest today. Yes, StreamYard. He is the CEO of Campaign Refinery, and I found him through a Facebook group, and he just helped me out. And I figured, hey, why not bring him into our community? And some of you guys might have heard about Campaign Refinery before. I have, and I was really surprised that, anyway. So guys, if you're just hopping in today, we are going to be talking about how to increase your open rates, how to treat your email list the way that it deserves. If you are super guilty of just spamming the heck out of your email, let me know, hashtag guilty. But before we dive into that, I want everyone to know, if you guys don't know who Travis is, I want to, by the way, Travis, welcome to my group and my community.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome.
I'm glad that you're here today. And before we dive into things, I kind of want the audience to get to know who you are. And let's start with like some kind of origin story. Like, what got you into this crazy world of owning your own email autoresponding software and helping thousands of businesses help talk to their people the right way?
Yeah, I mean, like everyone, it's always kind of a fun backstory, right? I mean, my like real entrepreneur, I did the things as a kid, right? Like mowed yards, washed cars, like bought wholesale soda and resold it for a markup in the ferry line. Like you name an angle, and I did it as a kid, right? And then once I got to high school and I finally turned 18, I always knew I wanted to be a business owner. And so I actually started a computer business, and I was like building high-end PCs for friends. And then I was actually drop shipping laptops on eBay, having to get like around the school filter to do it. And that actually made enough money in just a couple of months to pay for my first year of college, which was pretty cool. After college, I like did a desk job for about 9 months, hated it, went out and worked for a best-selling author and speaker, started running their affiliate program, running a multi-million-dollar ad campaign with, you know, LinkedIn and whatever else. And but then I realized I was building all these assets for clients and hadn't really been building my own email list. And so I was like, oh man, I need to build my own email list as fast as possible, right? Because right now I'm just working for someone else. And so I knew that contests had worked in the past. And then I said, okay, but all the contest software at the time gave points for the act of referral, like for the act of sharing, not the actual act of getting a bigger email list. So I hired a WordPress developer. We made a little simple contest plugin for WordPress, did really well, turned around, sold like 10,000 copies of it, took that money, turned it into building a SaaS, built, you know, a software as a service version of the contest thing. And as our needs scaled and scaled and scaled, I like my needs for email got more complex, right? It started back in the day with Aweber, then I went to Infusionsoft, and then like it was really cool about all the things Infusionsoft said it could do, but in reality, it couldn't actually do a lot of them. And then deliverability was garbage. My opens and clicks were really bad. And so instead of waiting around for them to fix it for the umpteenth time, when their support finally said, good luck finding anything better, I thought, okay, well, you know, we've generated over 20,000 customers on contests. We've generated over 30 million opt-ins. I think I know a thing or two about software. So what the heck? Let's go all in, try to build an ESP. And, you know, both the craziest and potentially best decision I've ever made in my life to go and build an ESP.
And for those of the audience who don't know what the heck ESP means, can you enlighten us?
Sorry, yeah, I get stuck in the lingo. ESP just stands for email service provider. So, you know, a lot of people are familiar with like, you know, ConvertKit, Aweber, Infusionsoft, Marlpost, Constant Contact, whatever. We wanted to build the direct replacement for that because I had some very specific ideas about how email should work, what your options should have on the table, what the feature set should look like. And it was, you know, decidedly different than what was on the marketplace at the time, similar to how when I built contests, right? What I built didn't exist at the time. So that's the same angle we're taking here.
Yeah. And you said something about your story that was really interesting. You said you started off with a plugin. You started off selling a WordPress plugin.
Yeah, it was a WordPress plugin.
Introduction into the software world.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about that is like at the time, you know, it was risky because I didn't have really much money, so I put it all on a credit card. and you know, like this thing's got to work. And yeah, it was the cheapest way I could come up with to come up with the feature set I wanted for at least myself, and something I could repackage and sell, to prove out a concept enough to then say, okay, now let's take any dollar we made from that and immediately go try to build a software as a service to build up some recurring revenue and a higher value system.
What's crazy about what you said was my Chromebus community, where I teach people how to make passive income with like teeny simple software. I tell them your plugin is your SaaS. You have a SaaS now. It is software as a service. You're charging people monthly for it. And what they say is, what, isn't this a Chrome extension? Don't they offer for free? And I say, no, you're going to charge for yours because yours is going to be unique and specific. So that's really cool. I feel like that's really motivation. That's pretty motivational for my audience to learn that you start off with a plugin and then you get your list and then you get that cash. And then now you can go and build like bigger, huger, grander things, which
Well, I
is
mean, to put it in context, right? I mean, I think that first plugin I spent, I think somewhere in the neighborhood of like $4,500, of which like $3,000 was on a credit card. And like, while obviously I've reinvested significantly since then, like the contest world, like that turned into like a multi-7-figure like thing, right? And then I was able to then leverage that resource to then start building Campaign Refinery, right? So it's kind of like constantly trading up and reinvesting with what the successes you do have to keep things moving forward.
yeah, I love it. It starts off with like eBay and then constantly trading up.
Yeah, and eBay, that was drop shipping. It was inventory I didn't even have. I was pre-selling someone else's inventory, right? For a markup. So
Oh my gosh. I feel like you are like aligned with your pathway is over here and I'm still over here because I did the eBay thing. I have e-commerce company. I went into car parts and then now I'm in SaaS, simple software. I have like 7 Chrome extensions and now I'm like, what else is out there? Like what can I do?
it's a never-ending addiction. It will never stop.
And guys, I what is it? I met Travis through a Facebook group and he was just helping me with one question. And so to me, I feel like even though you have this big world, you're willing to help people. Yeah. And that makes me feel so good about telling people about where you're from and just telling people about you as a person. So Laura says y'all are twinning. Laura, thank you so much. But I'm like a teeny tiny baby version of Travis.
No, it's not like that.
But anyways, so all right, now you're in this world because you came up with you had that frustration and you're like, maybe I can do this the way that I want to do it. And now this is when I want to see if we can educate the audience on the things that they don't know about. So for a lot of people, just even having an email list is such a journey to just even get to that email list. And then it takes another layer to really treat that email list the right way. At what point in a person's digital online journey do they do this? Like at what point is the way that they approach their email list going to be intentional versus I have a list, now it's time for me to start emailing and which I feel like for the most part, that's how, if someone goes online trying to figure it out, that's what they do first. They don't go, all right, I need to start the right way. I need to do this the right way, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I want to start off with saying, I didn't start building my email list until like late college. And even then, when I did, it took me, years to get my first like 1,000 subscribers. Like when I first wanted to start building my own email list, like for real with the contest stuff, at that point, I think I only had like 600 email subscribers. And that was like 3 to ish years of just kind of like fiddling around with like, putting a simple exit pop for, hey, sign up for my newsletter kind of stuff on like a personal blog. It was not great, right? And so like when I started to get intentional about it and use contests and things like that, like then I started adding multiple thousands of subscribers like in a single day. And so like
In a single day.
that was a monumental shift for me. Like, 3 years, 600 subscribers, and then like 3 days I added 5,000 subscribers. And so you start to hit this like totally different trajectory on what you can do with an email list. And then I was like, okay, now that I've got some subscribers, a lot of people make the mistake of saying, oh, I just want to hoard this list, right? I'm going to build it. But until I feel that things are perfect, until I think that things are absolutely like I can hit send and 6 figures falls out of the other end of the email, until I can do that, I'm not going to email them. And the real kind of sad reality is that an email list is only an asset if you use it. If you don't use it, it's actually a liability, because it's something you're paying for that you're not using, subscribers that forgot how they got on your list, right? And it's the potential that as emails go bad, or people, again, forget how they got on your list and you do go to send, your bounce rate, your complaint rate, all the things that are negative can get your account shut down at a drop of a hat. They can, get you banned from platforms. They can do all kinds of negative things instead of the positive things that we really want out of it. So unless you're sending, even if it's small, just start sending something, send value, send content, just remind them why they're on your list, the value they get from your list. And you might make a sale here or there, but if you think about the amount of work it takes to do like a brick and mortar business, like sending a couple emails a week is like not a big ask, I don't think, for a while, until you finally build up to the point that it's generating consistent revenue.
Oh yeah. And I just want to take a moment to say hey to everyone. Hey Glenn, hey Laura, hey Brett. Hey guys. Hey Masatoshi, hey Adam. Hey guys, if you guys are just hopping in right now, let me know, #live. And if you're watching the replay, let me know, #replay. And if you have any email questions, I want this interview to be interactive, to make sure that, some of you guys are coming from all over the place. You guys have big email lists, small email lists. Let me know right now, how many people are on your current email list? Is it 600, 1,000, 1K, 2K, 10K? And Travis, this is a question that I want to ask. How did you go from a couple hundred to 1,000 a day? I can't even imagine, like, that's hard for me to imagine. However, I've seen my friends create these contests. They do create contests, affiliate contests, and then a bunch of people have a gift, and then they have to watch through all these webinars to get a gift through a code. So there's like a method to that builds up their list. I want to know, how would a person who have a couple thousand people on their email list go from a couple of 30, 40 people a day to 1,000? And is that something that's that anyone can do?
Totally.
That's something I want to ask.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, one of the fastest ways to grow your list is definitely with contests. And that's why, we still own and operate Contest Domination. We have a lot of love for it in our heart. It's a pretty mature product at this point compared to Campaign Refinery. So we don't need to do too much to it. But the concept is great. So what's awesome about contests is you're allowed to give a disproportionately valuable prize because you're only giving it to one or a few people. So instead of saying I'm giving a PDF to everyone, which is usually a pretty low value thing that everyone gets, and you might still send them a PDF, you can pick more expensive things, more transformational types of opportunities that only are for a few people. And then the great part is if that's either exactly what you do and sell or highly correlated to what you do and sell, that prize is allowing you to basically pre-sell to everyone on your list, because you're telling them about the benefits. If you win, here's how your life will be different. If you win, here's how your business will change, right? And so at the end, they're so hyped for this prize, whether they win it or not, then you can give them a reason to buy your stuff right now. But now what makes the list speed that you asked about so effective is that when people enter the contest, they then share via email and social to refer their friends in. So they get 10 additional entries into the contest for every friend that goes through one of their links. So what that means is that, let's say you take a normal landing page that converts at like 20 20% for cold traffic. So 20% of people who visit your squeeze page, might give you their information. A contest, because of the viral components on the back, all of a sudden you go from 15, 20% to like 50 to 60% effective leads as a result of your initial traffic, because of that viral loop on the back end, and because of the value of the prize is pretty high. And if you do it right too, you can also partner with what we call contest sponsors, where they may send you traffic, they may provide the prizes, they may just pay you to be talked about on the back end, which you can use that money towards ads. There's all kinds of really clever ways that you can not only acquire leads at a rapid pace, but you can subsidize the whole function of the contest using sponsors to bring, like I said, traffic, prizes, or money for you to pay for ads.
What? I never even think of contest sponsors. I always think of a contest as this thing that you like spearhead, and it's like it's you, and then at the end the thank you page leaves people to share. But contest sponsors, that's a very new concept to me. So how would that work, having a contest sponsor? How do you approach someone that's like, hey, can you sponsor my contest? What are they getting in return? That list?
Sure. So like one of our customers, they had a market of professional wedding photographers that connected professional wedding photographers with people who were going to get married. And so what they did is they needed to build up the professional wedding photographer marketplace, right? So what they did is they gave away the winner's choice of like a high-end camera, right? One that's so nice it's actually even intimidating to most people who aren't photographers, right? So it could be a Sony, a Nikon, a Canon, really high-end one. And then as they entered, they had a little drop down that said, like, I'm a beginner photographer, intermediate, professional, or professional wedding. So they could segment their list as it comes in. And then they went out to people that they know have a network of photographers, like Smug Mug, where you can like rent camera lenses, and different other camera communities. And they went to them and said, look, we're spending money on Facebook ads. We're fronting the cost of the prize. We'd love if you could share our contest with your audience, email your newsletter, share it on your social networks, etc. Your big established list of known photographers. And so they got this huge influx of traffic into their contest just by saying, hey, could you send us traffic? And on the back end, on each, hey, there's 5 days left in the contest, there's 3 days left in the contest, on the page where they announced the winner, they just said, and make sure to say thanks to our sponsors. And they linked to, an offer from each one of their sponsors. And they got like 180,000 entries into their contest, like leads. 180,000 leads came in, and a portion of those would have been professional wedding. And they can do the follow-up sequence pitching them on why they should be in the marketplace for their professional wedding photographers.
Oh, wow.
So, and they only spend a couple grand in ads and a couple grand on a camera. I know for someone just starting out, a couple grand sounds like a lot, but if you're generating, 150, 180, 200,000 leads, email addresses onto your list, that's basically free.
That's insane. That's crazy. What? I think in the simple software world, what I have is what I give my people is a template, share funnel that's a contest giveaway. Like, get a chance to win the Chrome extension. I'm going to get a chance to win a lifetime license. And when they come into the contest, it's a chance to win, and they get upsell and downsell. And if they don't want to buy any of it one time, then it goes to a thank you page where we use something similar to your software, like AppSumo, KingSumo, to go and share in order to increase their chances to win that lifetime license. But you just made me think of it as like, what? You could have sponsors, and you can put this into an email list, and it just made me think of my little tiny contest thing as now the ability to take it to a whole new level, and then approach sponsors and adding Facebook ads to the front end.
It's like putting lighter fluid on it. Yeah, it just makes it go like crazy.
Wow, oh my gosh. Adam says, who have you used? What do you mean? Oh, sponsors. So yeah, it depends on who is, you know, who has your buyers list. I guess it's
Yeah, you
whoever.
want to find people that are complementary to your marketplace, but not competitive to your core offer.
That makes sense. You know, for live events, sponsors are people who are complimentary but not competitive, and then they pay for the live event. So this is kind of like they pay for your email list, and a live event is small. Oh my gosh, that made me get excited. um, Adam says, so like for a women's empowerment mastermind launch, what kind of sponsors would you look for?
You probably want to find people that, you know, have a female audience that are like professional development focused, right? So, because women's empowerment, I assume you're talking about sort of like professional development, career advancement, um, or if you have a different specific angle, but you want to find people that have that tribe already. I'm certainly not the expert in that segment, but you know, go find, you know, sort of like the lookalike audiences, similar interests that they have in Facebook or other interest tools that you can use out there, and it'll help spark some ideas about what kind of brands play in that space. And it's, you know, a contest is a great way to get it in. The same way that podcasts are often a good way to get interviews from people that are intelligent or potential prospects for your product or service. Contests are a great way to creak that door open and say, hey, we basically want to, you know, put your offer in front of a couple thousand people at the end of our contest, and we want to email them 4 or 5 times for you. Would you like to partake in that? It costs you no money. You just promote the contest. Give your audience value as well.
Wow. And how do you run ads? Oh, by the way, thank you for answering that question for Adam. Thanks, Adam, for asking. You guys ask smart questions. I feel like I want this to be super interactive, and we are here to teach you about how to, well, not we, mostly Travis, here to teach you how to rapidly increase your email list. And contests, that little tip has like exploded my mind into what's possible now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now what can I do when I launch another Chrome extension, or when I do something? Can I make it into a contest? Can I get sponsors now? And you know, and now I'm asking, what Facebook ads do you run to a contest? Is it like, hey, enter this contest for the, is that the ad? The ad is literally enter this contest?
Yeah, pretty much.
Whoa. Interview them for my podcast. What a great idea. Boom. And then you can also add something from the sponsor as part of your contest prize.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So many good questions. So many questions I have in my head.
And we haven't even gotten to, like, you know, the list cleaning and all the, you know, automation stuff that you could really dive into if you want. It's up to you.
Yes. Let's do that. I love interviewing experts like you, because then, you know, I feel like you don't know until you know, until you hire a coach, until you meet someone and you have that conversation. So I carve out this time to have these conversations. And then, you know, my audience gets to benefit from that as well. Can you share a link to your ads, Travis, so we can model them? Oh, I don't know.
Sorry, bud. Not gonna do that one.
Too bad. Sorry. But the premise is you send straight to the contest. It's not like a roundabout SLO kind of way, self-liquidating offer or anything like that. It's straight up, here's a contest.
Yeah. Frequently, you know, God, we could go into all kinds of different ad theory and stuff, but you know, that's actually how we talked originally. Remember, it was about high ticket offer ad funnels and stuff. So, I mean, there's a million different ways to slice it, but yeah, for the most part, you just want to, your conversion rate is so high on cold traffic to what it actually nets you for leads, both direct from the ad and then the people that refer from the original entries. So, yeah, I like to focus on just like explode that email list as fast as possible, because, you know, in some cases, like that example with the cameras I just told you about, they were averaging between 2 and 4 cents per email with their Facebook ads. because once they had already gotten the sponsors to run through, they had their Facebook pixel already on there. So it was just getting hammered with all these conversions from the sponsors. And then they lit up their Facebook ads, and Facebook already had a really good idea of who to go get for the contest. Like,
Wow.
Pre-seasoned the pixel.
Oh my gosh. How do you generate interest first if you have no base? That's a good question. How do you
That's the sponsors. Go convince them that they should be part of. And if you have more than one sponsor, or you're planning to have more than one sponsor, because then you're going to them and you're not just saying like, oh, here's the things I'm going to do, or here, trying to flex the size of your own audience. You go and you say, look, we're having conversations with 4 available contest sponsors, 4 available slots to be a part of this contest. So you're going to get, everyone's going to cross-pollinate. No one competes with each other, but you're going to get exposed to customers in your market from, at least 3 different other brands, as well as our own internal promotion efforts. And sometimes that's enough because they just want to get more exposure, just like everyone else.
Oh man. Do you tie the concert with affiliate commissions when someone wins that prize, or they buy from each other? Or is it like, oh man, I have
We do have a feature that actually allows you to capture an affiliate ID in a hidden custom field and associate it to all referrals from that person as well. So
with contest domination?
Yeah, it's a feature built in there.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. So let's go into automation. Hey, Masatoshi and Adam, awesome questions. Is there anything I should be careful with in terms of Facebook ads policy? Let's talk about email. Let's talk about email. When you start emailing your list, you shouldn't wait until things are perfect. You should start trickling out emails. What type of automation were you thinking of talking about that's like different? Is it, oh man, there's so many things. Well, how would you approach teaching about the types of automations that are important for email?
Yeah, I think there's probably 2 campaigns that I think everyone kind of needs to have in their email stack, regardless of what size their list is. One of those is an initial sort of engagement and sort of indoctrination sequence, right? That's the one we're all kind of more familiar with, right? Like they opt in for a lead magnet or something, and you drip them out, an email a day or a couple emails a week at least, over time, that sends them value, sends them, helpful information, sends them products that they could benefit from, sends them, tutorial videos about how to accomplish a specific outcome, and maybe you link to an affiliate thing below that video, right? So things that can generate revenue, but more than anything, it's building up rapport with that subscriber, right? It's letting them know who you are, what you're about, the kind of value they can expect to get from your list. You're sort of conditioning them for what you're going to send them. The second kind of campaign that I think everyone should have is something that, of course, we baked in with a lot of our features because I thought it was really important, and that is an evergreen flash sale type of campaign. So
no way.
What?
Okay, go on.
But you need the ability to feel like you're in the back of the brain of your customer, and in a way that feels like you're like the best person ever that gave them the awesome offer right when they needed it, right? That just-in-time offer that's just the thing that they knew that they wanted. And these things can actually play off each other, and you can have multiple of these offers like loaded up and ready to go. And then you have your indoctrination sequence that can basically be like tossing people out into these special offers as it makes sense. So let me give you a more specific example. Let's say, you're talking about marketing with your email list, just because there's a lot of, internet marketers, whatever, with us. And maybe one of the tips you want to give is about Facebook ads. Okay. And so you have an indoctrination sequence, and in one of those emails, it says like, here's 5 shortcuts that you need to know about Facebook ads. Even if it's not a blog post of your own, even if it's not content you generated yourself, if you're just saying, hey, here's a great article I found about Facebook ads, something that simple, seriously. So you don't even have to create any content other than writing the email, right, and link off to it. If you have the right automation in place, you can set it up so that when someone comes in and then they click on Facebook ads, let's say, you can queue them up for like a just-in-time 3-day flash sale that might launch next week just for that subscriber. So it might wait for like the next Tuesday, and then they get an email and say, hey, we're actually running this great, bonus promotion for anyone who gets this Facebook ads training. Again, it could be an affiliate offer. If you're talking about just getting started, you don't have your own course, no big deal. Go find a course that pays a commission and come up with a bonus for it. And you can run this timer in email, a timer on an iframe. So you have an iframe above the sales page that you control that has a countdown timer on it, maybe a button to buy through your affiliate link, and allows you to deliver that offer just in time, add scarcity, and generate that conversion. And so you can create one on every little side subject possible to your core philosophy, even if you don't own any of the products, even if you don't have any of your own training courses. There's no reason you couldn't basically sort of have like these, evergreen launches kind of bonuses and special offers on affiliate products, even better if it's your own product. But it's a great way to really amp a bunch of conversions and train people for here's the kind of value I'm going to present, and then deliver that value right on their interest because they just raised their hand and told you they're interested in Facebook ads because they clicked a link for a Facebook ad post. It's really a great way to go.
No way. That made like everything you're teaching me right now is so mind-blowing. Because for me, I run flash sales and I'm always tying it. And this is because probably I don't know all these ninja tricks, but I'm thinking, okay, Black Friday, send Black Friday sale. And all right, holiday. So my sales are tied into like holidays and tied into.
And how good are your sales during those periods? Probably amazing, right?
Crazy. Yeah, really good.
Imagine if that was every single week.
Ah! Travis, you just like blew my mind again. What the heck? No way. And on the front end, it's just like, hey, I found this cool article. So it's not like
you're just trying to pick off interest.
Every day.
You're just trying to pick off interest. And so the only people experiencing that sale in real time are the ones that came through your flow and elected to click on it. So you're not beating up your whole list. You're just sending the right offer to the hottest prospects at the right time. That's it. You're hardly sending any email at all, but you're sending the right email to the right people with the right offer at the right time.
And you don't even need to have the offer. You don't need to be the one who created the offer.
Right. And so there's tools you can use to do this on other ESPs. You can go get like, Deadline Funnel or whatever and configure all that. But, those are, $50 to $100 a month by themselves. And a Campaign Refinery account is $100 for everything. So.
Whoa.
Just something to consider.
Something to consider to switching to your platform. That's a really good. Oh, okay. So it's built in. How is it built in? Is there like a list of is there a list of offers already that we can like pick and choose from? Or is it like, what do you mean built in? For the non-technical people, what does built in mean?
The features you need to make a dynamic countdown timer based on the experience of that particular contact, and put that countdown timer embedded into your email, embedded into the link, and actually be intelligent. Everything you need from a software perspective, we added into Campaign Refinery. So there's no additional software that you have to go get to make that happen if you're using Campaign Refinery.
Wow.
That's what I mean by built in. So like normally you have to go take at least one or two other tools and get them all to work together. Whereas ours, like as you're building your sequence, the feature, like it's literally there in our app as just like the same as adding a tag or sending an email or whatever. So
this is Sophia, by the way. Sophia, you have to let StreamYard see your name. Hey, Sophia. Wow. Okay. So and I know about that countdown thing. I always think of it as like this outside thing you have to put into your email as a code, something like that, to have that countdown within the email. Yeah, but so you're saying that's included.
Yeah, baked right in.
And so what other things are baked right in? Is that like one of the most highest leverage thing?
Honestly, most people forget that we even have that, if I'm being honest with you, which makes me a little sad. It definitely gets used, but like if it were me, I would try to convince every single customer to use it because I just think it can, double or triple your conversions, and you'd be insane not to use it. But most people come to us right now because of our built-in list cleaning. So a lot of people, especially as they're getting started, don't understand how list hygiene is such an important piece long term, because getting a little bit of a bump on opens and clicks when your list is only a couple hundred subscribers doesn't feel that important. But when you start getting a bigger and bigger list, protecting yourself from bounces and complainers and bots and spam traps and dormant accounts and role accounts, like support at, info at, those kind of emails, and scrubbing all of those out before you ever click send is a huge deal for making sure that when you send your big broadcast, all the mailbox providers, Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, etc., are seeing, hey, this person's actually following the rules, and they're not sending to bad emails, they're not collecting bad emails, they're not trying to send to old email addresses, they're doing things right. So they're much more likely to let more of your email through, and then much more likely still to put more of that email actually into the inbox. And that's normally, again, a complicated process. On other tools, you got to like either export your list, go to a cleaner, pay a bunch of money because it's a lot more expensive, have them clean it, then you get a file back, and you got to go somehow put it back into your email tool without screwing it up, and not without screwing up where anyone is in a sequence, right? That's how it normally works. So we went out and basically just built it into the back end so that it does it automatically. So when a contact comes in, we run it through our cleaner before we ever try to send an email to it. And then if they remain subscribed, we actually recheck every 90 days to make sure that contact is still, coloring within the lines, and do it for, a really affordable rate. And just, you don't have to think about it. That's the biggest thing. You don't have to think about it.
Wow. So you're saying that if your list is filled with like fake emails or bot emails or whatever, and you click send, that affects the way that your emails get delivered among the platforms, Gmail, Outlook,
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah, not only for that send, but then they remember, right? They're like, actually, last time we got an email from this person, there was a bunch of issues with it. We're gonna be a little bit more cautious next time before we let them get more email through. And if you try to send to too many of those broken or malicious email addresses, that's a really fast way to get kicked off of your email service tool, right? You can get on a worse IP address to make their performance review people get upset and want to kick you off as well. So you're not only going to not make as much money, and probably also increase your bill with your tool in ways that you don't expect, but you're actually risking the future profits and even the future viability of having an email list at all if you aren't taking care of that on a bigger list.
Oh wow. Yes. Is this the way it is, Travis? Like you talk to people and they have like no idea these things. I don't know. Or am I like clueless? I feel maybe a little bit of both. But
I mean, how are you supposed to know, right? Because I grew up in the same marketing world that a lot of us are still experiencing, where the service providers aren't really telling you because they can't solve it. They don't have a solution for you right now to take care of that for you. But if you violate those rules, they'll be quick to kick you off, but they aren't exactly doing as much as they can, in my opinion, to help you avoid it in the first place. So that's, again, frustration as a marketer who's building software, not as a software guy who's trying to market it. Like, I understand the problems because I have to live with them myself. I mean, one of the things that drives features the most is me getting in there with the dev team and saying, look, I'm trying to run a campaign to do X, Y, and Z. And our tool isn't, great at doing that in this way or that way. So let's fix it. Let's make it better, because these are the things I care about as a business owner or marketer, not just as the platform owner.
And Christopher Blakeman, Christopher just joined our Ignite program. He's going to start it in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Hey, Christopher, you have a question. How large should a list be approximately to start looking at cleaning it?
I mean, if some tools have you can get credits or whatever, and they don't expire, and it's really not that expensive if it's a small list. But I mean, obviously, if you got like 20 people, don't sweat it. I would probably say even until you get to like a couple thousand, yeah, I see the second question here, but a couple thousand subscribers is probably a good spot where you'll start to notice a little bit of an impact. But again, it's the kind of thing that the bigger your list is, the more significant that impact is, even if it's the same percentage, right? It starts to mean a bigger and bigger deal as your list gets larger.
Another question. Hey guys, let's StreamYard see your name. Because I don't know who you are until I like look over somewhere else. How long is your autoresponder indoctrination sequence? Oh, Christopher from Christopher earlier. Okay, Christopher. How long is your autoresponder indoctrination sequence? Is that important? Should you make it as long as possible? Should you make it like 30 days at least? What do you recommend, Travis?
You know, it really depends on how creative and how much value you think you can continue to do. And if you just basically want all of your offers to run off of that indoctrination sequence, right? Sometimes people want to get them to a situation where they can rely on broadcast more because it's more of a topical thing. Like it has to be more current than just kind of a static follow-up sequence after someone opts in. So for some people, it may only be 7 days, right? And I can tell you, having even 3 to 7 days is better than 0, so that's certainly an improvement. A lot of people try to shoot for 30 days. I've seen people that have like years, literally years of indoctrination queued up. So if you opt into someone's list, they wouldn't touch a button and you would get an email like basically every day for years. That's a little intense, but I'm just saying you can literally go the spectrum from 3 days to like 3 years, anywhere in between. Whatever you feel you have in you to queue it up is great. I would put one caveat on that though, that you have a system in place to drop off people that aren't opening and clicking your list, because you don't want to just send 3 years of emails to someone who literally doesn't open a single one.
Is that the list cleaning part 2 or different?
So that's not part of like what most people think of like a list cleaner, but it is, again, a function that we built in because it's an important piece to try to cut out the people that aren't engaging, not only because you're wasting your email volume on it, but we've actually proven many times over with multiple different large clients that if you just send to recent engagers, even if recent engagers would be included on like your entire list, let's say, so just the recent engagers. So like, let's say you had 50,000 full list and you have like 15,000 people that have opened in the last week or two. If you send to just that engaged portion, the raw number of people who open and click, not percentage, because percentage gets crazy, but the raw number of people that open and click your email can double or triple. Even though those people are on the main list, if you send the main list, it changes how much of your email actually ends up in priority inbox.
Oh, right? Yeah, we tried that recently. We just sent it to the people who click on that link, and it was like 700 people, but the open rate was crazy, and the number of people who click on it was very high. So
and that's giving signals to Google and Yahoo and everyone else that when you send email, it's good and they care because they can tell what percentage in aggregate is opening, and that will influence their decision in the future about where your email ends up.
Oh man, I feel like all of a sudden I'm being judged. I felt like I just was this person in the corner sending people information, but it's like you're telling me, hey, like they know, and they really look at that. They look at the history. They look at how many people open. And I thought that the email provider is the only one with that insight, not the other people.
There's a lot of people in the chain that know what's going on.
What? All right. How often should you email your list? The classic question from Glenn. Hey, Glenn.
Perfect would be every day. Most of us aren't perfect, myself included. But the more consistent your email volume looks on a daily average, the better off you'll be. Because one thing that the mailbox providers hate is seeing like 200,000 emails and then 2 weeks of nothing, and then 200,000 emails and 2 weeks of nothing. Like that to them, they have a short memory, so it doesn't take very long before, as far as they're concerned, you haven't sent to that list before. So the more frequently you can send and show a nice smooth curve, ideally even growing a little bit, right, each day, that would be like the perfect scenario. And, again, I advocate, done is better than perfect. So do your best to get as close to that as you can. But that to me is kind of the ideal like situation to be in, if possible.
Glenn says, thank you. And then Christopher has another question. What do you think about using Chrome push notification messages like emails where the message pops up in the browser?
Yeah, I mean, push notifications certainly have their place. I feel, the same about push as I do about SMS. I think that it can be super, super effective, but when we've done tests with it, it tends to have a really high unsubscribe or opt-out rate from those types of features, especially if you did a text every single day. I think you would wear that list out way faster than if you emailed every day, just because it has such a high open rate because it is fairly intrusive in some ways, right? Because it's hitting the home screen of your phone for a text, right? Or it's showing up on your desktop. Whereas email, I get to it when it's convenient for me, not when it's convenient for the business. And so we see that email lists have a much longer shelf life of subscribers. It may not have nearly the open or click rate, but you can have someone for years, whereas sometimes you may only have an SMS subscriber for weeks, depending on how often you're texting. Or I realize you didn't ask about text, but text and push are very similar in that regard, I feel like.
Yeah. And the Laura's question makes me think about like what people behave like versus reality. So since you're the CEO of the ESP, I would like to ask you some questions that are like, not some questions. I would ask you the question, what do you think people's perception are versus like what reality is based on how you've seen your users behave, and to kind of break through the myths of some of like myths that exist with emails. For example, I'll lead with one of the myths that I have in my head, or maybe not a myth, but this is something I'm afraid to do. So I have ConvertKit for a long time, and I want to switch over to something better than ConvertKit. But part of my fear is if I switch over, then what about all those tags? What about all the things? Part of the fear of like switching over to something completely entirely different is, what am I losing? I don't even know. I'm not super educated in email to know what I'm losing or not. And maybe I should just, hire an expert to just tell me. But why not ask an expert here? So like the myth is, maybe that is something that I shouldn't worry about. Maybe I should just switch over and it's going to be okay as long as I do this, and this. So like, what have you seen where people are like thinking about certain things? Like, for example, Laura says she would unsubscribe if she gets an email every day. But I know marketers who email people every single day, nonstop, all the time.
Or more than
they
once
have
a day.
a good relationship with their list, and the people who unsubscribe are still unsubscribed, but still the best practices are it's okay to send one email a day, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to read the room too, right? I mean, sometimes some people don't want to get it every day, and maybe that's where you start getting into segmenting too, where using tags you give people an out where they can say, hey, I actually only want to hear from you once a week or once a month, right? And so you may decide, I have an everyday list, but then I have a super duper important list that I'll only notify you when something big changes, but it can still smooth that out. The other part there too is the everyday thing. No one wants I love my mom too, and I also wouldn't want to hear from her every single day, but if someone found a way to make me money every day, I would be thrilled to get their email every morning to show me, a new way that I can copy and paste something, some little tweak, some little tidbit, right? So I think it really comes back to like, what's the value that they're bringing to your life? If it's literally just buy some stuff, but every single day, yeah, that gets old quick. You're going to burn a list out. But if it's value, occasionally an offer, Black Friday sale, value, like if it's a mix of things that bring a net positive into your life, I get excited about that kind of information. again, you can still segment people out that just no matter what you do, you could be literally sending them a brick of gold and they might get annoyed every day, then in that case, sure, give them an out. But, or maybe maybe they're not core to your business. Those are the kind of decisions you got to make. As far as your question about fear of switching, it's a totally understandable situation a lot of people are in, where they're like, hey, like for instance, I said I started with Aweber and then went to Infusionsoft, and then from Infusionsoft to our own solution with Campaign Refinery. And every time you switch, there's fear, right? Because there's unknown, there's uncertainty. How are these things going to align? And what I've always found to be useful is that, first of all, a lot of us could benefit, just like spring cleaning in your house. A lot of us could benefit by simplifying portions of our digital footprint, right? So simplifying, do you really need all those tags? Do you really need all those follow-up sequences, right? And sometimes you do, but there's probably some cruft that is built up that if you remove it, your situation suddenly looks at least a bit less daunting, right? Just like spring cleaning. So you go in there and you clean up the forums and your offers, and that was a one-time JV thing I did, and this was a whatever, and you rip those out and you realize you only have most people only have 2 or 3 core sequences or campaigns that are super important to their business. Everything else kind of doesn't matter. And then it's a matter of, okay, now that we've got the campaign logic cleaned up, what's our list look like? Are there people that are in here that are unsubscribed, that haven't opened in 12 months? Can I just get rid of some of those people? Do I really need them on here, right? Which is, even if you don't switch, that's a good habit too, because it'll save you money. Because everyone else, or not everyone, but most other list services charge you based on your contact count, right? Ours is different. Ours is based on usage as far as how much email you send and whatnot. But a lot of them, it's contact list. So if you can shrink that out, get rid of the unsubscribes, get rid of the people who haven't done anything, then you take a step back and look at what you have. Like I said, you have a simplified campaign structure, you have simplified tags, simplified number of lists, and you've cleaned up the total headcount. Now it's something that you can really work with, something that you can then consider, do I want to switch platforms? Do I want to do something else with it? And at that point, when you go to hire someone, it's actually much easier conversation, because it's very clear at that point, here's what I have, here's what I need, can you duplicate this? It's easier for them to understand, it's easier for them to duplicate, and that means it's also going to cost you less effort, headache, heartache, and money to switch platforms if you decide to do that in the future.
Oh yeah, man, that was such a concise, good answer. It made me feel I was saying yes to a lot of it, because yeah, I have a lot of tags, but at the end of the day, there are some just core sequences that I use, and I can get rid of a lot of things. Definitely. Wow. What is it? Laura says, I've seen solid weekly sends. All right, cool.
Yeah, weekly's great. Yeah, like I said, we don't even do daily ourselves, even though I would like to email more. And then that comes down to a bottleneck of content creation, and just flat out writing the emails because we're so busy running the software. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at too. So like I said, daily is, most people won't get there, but it's a good area to send to. And if weekly is your jam, or every 3 to 5 days, go with that if that's what you're comfortable doing.
Mm. And Glenn's asked, does it integrate with Campaign for Refinery? Does it integrate with ClickFunnels? And how big of a list can I bring over?
Yes, we work with ClickFunnels. It doesn't use one of their native integrations, but we have a document that shows you it's actually quite easy still to get leads that opt in from ClickFunnels to be pushed into Campaign Refinery. And we have no list size limit. But if it's a particularly large list, we'd like to talk to you first and understand, where that list came from, what you're trying to accomplish with it, and maybe give you some advice on how to best start, ramping that up on our system.
Yeah, Glenn's list is 17,000.
Yeah, no sweat, man. But bring it on over. Easy peasy.
17,000 is easy peasy. You hear that, Glenn? If you're sending weekly, should you batch to send daily? Huh.
Oh, so you're taking so let's say you have 100,000 person list and you're saying, break that over 7 days. That's not a bad way to do it. The only negative there is that it becomes more operational overhead for you to figure out how you're going to break that up. Another way is we have the ability to actually like throttle down the speed of sends and some other things. So there's ways to accomplish that, but yeah, breaking it over 7 days could help, depending on the size of the audience. If it's under like a couple 100,000 people, even under 50,000 people, and as you get smaller from that, it's probably less of an issue. It's people that are really trying to send a lot of email and it becomes spiky that it starts to be problematic.
Oh, all right. Cool. Man, I have so many questions. Sophia says, is ClickFunnels the only builder it integrates with?
No, so we natively integrate with OptimizePress, which their latest version is OptimizePress 3. It's actually a really awesome builder if you're interested in WordPress. We also integrate with Convertry, which is a super fast software as a service landing page builder. And then there's a lot of other tools, and this is the way we work with ClickFunnels, where you're basically just copying and pasting an HTML form and then connecting the dots. And it's actually really quite simple. And so the same way that we work with ClickFunnels, that opens the door for a bunch of others. And then we, of course, have Zapier support. So if a tool doesn't natively integrate, there's a very high probability that there's a nice, clean way to get your leads from whatever tool you're using into Campaign Refinery. My favorites are OptimizePress and Convertry. We use OptimizePress for everything you see on CampaignRefinery.com.
Oh, OptimizePress and what's the other one?
Convertry.
Okay. Glenn says, drop the link. I'm sorry, I don't have an affiliate link for Campaign Refinery. You just go to Campaign Refinery. I think you have to be a user to be an affiliate, right? I have no idea.
That's how it has typically worked, but we can maybe have a conversation afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I'm considering it because, I mean, there's so many things that you said, like the built-in things and also list cleaning, all these things. And I feel for the longest time, and I've been in this world for 2 years, so I don't feel like it's too long that I'm in this world, but it feels like boot camp. I put myself to digital boot camp, being online full-time for 2 years. And only now am I starting to really look at my list and go, oh, shoot, I really need to be super deliberate. Even though some people have approached me and they're like, Kim, I love your emails. It's very well thought out. And I'm like, what, really? Whoa, I didn't even notice. But Glenn says, I'll be zapping. Does it integrate with Zapier? Is that what you mean by the integration to?
Yeah, so right now our Zapier is in beta, but if you type in Campaign Refinery's Zapier, you'll find our post with the link to get in. It's totally public beta. That'll be finished being polished up and pushed into the public directory so that just starting from Zapier, typing it in and finding it in the next month or two. Probably January with the holidays coming up, January, February.
Oh, okay. January, February. All right.
But you can use it today. It's just you have to go click a specific link from our site. That's the only difference.
My agency is software agnostic. We work with clients across many platforms. Oh, Laura. Oh, hey, Laura. Actually, Laura has an agency where she teaches her clients how to improve their open rate and click rate. So she has clients and she helps them improve their email journey. That's really cool. That means
you should go watch the video on the latest blog post we have about how to double your openers and triple your clickers.
On that note, what is a good open rate and click-through rate? Or is that dependent upon, if they go and click deeper and deeper into something?
It's funny. I was actually doing an interview earlier this morning, and someone was really trying to pressure me on coming up with what is the good open rate that you should be shooting for? And I'll give you the same answer I gave them because it's really the truth. And it may feel like a cop-out, but it's really not. The open and click rate and sort of responsiveness of your list comes down to 3 things. The platform, the offer, in the data. So the platform, right? That's your campaign refinery, your ConvertKit, your whatever, right? They have an IP address, and that IP address is good or bad. And they can help you with some other things like the cleaning, whatnot, right? But that's less than half of what dictates a good open and click rate. The offer is how well written is your email? How compelling is it? How relevant is it to what you think your audience wants, right? And the data is where are you getting your people from? So, the thing that brought us together, Kim, right? When I showed you the interest stacking and all these like cool things with Facebook ads that we were doing that was working for us, how that was the biggest difference, right? Because we had the exact same ad copy, we had the exact same video to our application system. The big difference was who were we showing the offer to? So that has to do with the data, right? If you're trying to sell iPhone cases and the people getting on your list all own Android, you have a data problem because you're getting the wrong people to sell them the thing that you want. So if you get platform, offer, and data right, your open and click rates will beat the industry. But if you get any of those three things wrong, or God forbid, all three of those things wrong, it really doesn't matter what the benchmark is because you're not working with the full deck, so to speak.
This is what Glenn says. So here's a real question. Is the platform affiliate friends, make money online, etc.?
Yeah, we accept affiliates in BizOp, but keep in mind that's a lot harder to inbox. And so while we can work some magic, there is a limit to our miracles. So, we'll give you feedback, about content and some other things if that's a thing, but we won't kick you for it unless you're, being like illegal. If you're promoting something, terrorism or what, like, there are limits.
So you cannot promote terrorism. You hear that, Glenn?
Yeah, but we're not like applying our own individual moral compass to the content that our customers send in the same way that, say, MailChimp is, where they're very heavy-handed. Even if things are legal, even if things are right, but they just maybe disagree with them, they are shutting down accounts, whereas we're not going to ever plan to apply those kind of projections of our own philosophies on it, but it just needs to be, within what I would consider reasonable bounds.
Oh,
That feels like a fair and equitable way to handle with our customers.
Cool. Glenn said he used to use Campaign Refinery back in the day, and now he doesn't anymore, but he told me to drop the link. All right, Glenn, maybe I'll have an affiliate link.
He probably used it back when it used to be SMTPs, where you had to bring your own like Mailgun account. That's how it first started, but
Laura asked, so you're a good platform for alternative health and such?
I mean, I guess I'd have to have a more descriptive definition of alternative health, but more than likely, yes.
Many coaches are getting shut down elsewhere.
Yep. We've seen a lot of that getting shut down, especially on MailChimp and some other providers. So we've been sort of a safe haven for a number of those folks.
Oh, wow. Therefore, does that mean the data party come first? For example, being clear about the who? Yes.
Yeah, when I talked about platform offer and data, you have to be very clear about who you want to be in your business. Then you have to make them a compelling offer, and you got to be using a good tool to do it.
What about CBD?
Yep.
All right. Man, I wish I could just talk with you like on email I feel like it could go on forever. One of the insights that I got from talking to you is your software journey. That contest software that you have that you say is bigger than Campaign Refinery. I feel like you do the next software because of the flow of people. Like people who go into the contest world will eventually build up really huge lists. And then now their next problem is they have these big lists, right? And then how are they going to treat their lists or get the most out of their lists? And then maybe they come into your Campaign Refinery world.
Yeah, they're certainly complementary. That's for sure. And I've often had conversations like I know most of the software guys sort of in this space, and we've talked about ways that we can try to make it a real nice seamless seamless experience and kind of a no-brainer to use this all together. So, um, you know, who knows what'll come down the pipe, but pretty excited about what we have to offer today.
Oh man, so cool. All right, well, I want to respect your time, Travis. I feel like we can continue talking forever, but usually my interviews are 1 hour long, and I love talking to you about all this stuff. It's really cool, and it makes me just question a lot of things. It's like, what have I been doing? So some golden nuggets for you guys. If you are just jumping in and you are just catching the tail end of this, what is it? Travis mentioned how to get your list from a few hundred to thousands quickly, to 1,000 list days, is to run contests where you can have sponsors, contest sponsors, and you have a prize. And this type of gamification I teach you guys with the Simple Software World, but it can apply to emails, and that's how you just explode. And then there are really good tips and tricks he told about how do you like built-in tools for how do you have people open your emails more. Like there are the email providers on the other end are looking at what you're doing, seeing how many people open up your emails. That is not just a one-way street, it's a two-way street. So you have to be very conscious of that. But if you have any questions whatsoever, keep on messaging below after this, and maybe I can get Travis to answer some. But otherwise, if you want to go and sign up for Campaign Refinery, I might have an affiliate, but right now, it's just Campaign Refinery and Contest Domination. I love bringing in experts into my community because we don't know until we know. And so it's always really cool and a pleasure to carve out time to talk to people who traveled this long path to where they are today. And so Travis, my last question would be, what is the future for you? You say you don't know what's going to come down the pipeline, maybe something more seamless. What's the future? What do you have? Like, now that you are where you are, what's your vision for where Campaign Refinery or Contest Domination will go, or your own brand? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, right now, a huge portion of my own personal focus is around trying to make Campaign Refinery as great as possible. There's always 15 million and one things that you want to build, or a feature you want to do, or a way you want to improve it. I think what we do right now is special. I think there's a lot of headroom left for us to go. It's taken me a long time to get here because I've been bootstrapping the whole thing, which has been a little painful, but it's finally getting to a good spot. And so, yeah, I think there's just a lot of runway ahead on Campaign Refinery and what I think we could do. And, if you look at what we've done on the list cleaning side, all these other kind of fun little features, as a marketer, I have a lot left that I want to put into it. So for the foreseeable future, that's definitely going to consume a lot of my time and energy. And, I still enjoy it. I still love getting the feedback from customers about, hey, this is cool, but my business would be a little bit better if, and following those rabbit holes and pulling at those threads is actually kind of a fun experience for me. And, as you saw with the Facebook group, I like just jumping in and helping people. And so it gives me a platform and an opportunity to do that on a regular basis. So that's going to consume the foreseeable future as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. And you guys, if you are around next week, I do have a 5-day training for you guys to add another 5 to 6 figures to your Facebook group. I'm going to drop that link after this. So some of my, Travis, some of my community are people who are users of my software. So their next level is figuring out how to monetize from their group. So I have that training coming up, and everyone's journey on here includes email marketing. So I am so glad that you were able to carve out time for us today, and that guys, I feel like Travis is such a a humble, great person. He just jumps in and answers my questions randomly, don't even know who I am. And I feel like that type of CEO, that type of leader in a software company is so wonderful. It just makes me feel I have so much confidence in Campaign Refinery, in Travis. A lot of times, some of you guys are like, Kim, there's alternatives to your software out there, but I stick with you. I choose you because you are the person you are. And I feel like that with Travis. So,
That's very
so
kind
guys,
of you. I appreciate that.
awesome. All right. Well, have a wonderful night, you guys. Travis, I'm gonna click end broadcast. I'll say goodbye to you in after that. And yeah, and guys, thanks for showing up today.
Thanks, everybody.
I know you learned a lot about emails. I definitely did. And have a good night. Bye. Oh yeah. If you liked that video, then you will love all the resources that I have over at kimcdang.com. That is KIMCDANG.com. There you will find all my courses, my extensions, all the offers that I have, as well as a lot of free resources if you are just getting started.